Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining the orientation session on JPACT. This is our 6th batch in continuation. So we're going to talk a lot about the job placement and certified training, and we'll also be talking about software testing, quality assurance in general as the startup program that we are offering for all of you. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. This is Karthik. We have a few slides. This is what we're going to do. We'll go through the slides, we'll understand about the program and what are we doing differently at iTeLearn. I will then come to address your questions, and we will show you the schedule of our training programs of what's coming next. Today, in fact, we have 3 sessions back to back. The main intent is to try and divide them into software testing, Selenium, and Java as 3 different. So some of you may be repeating those sessions. So we will not be taking up the entire 1 hour, 60 minutes available. We'll try and keep them as short and as relevant. Hope my audio is good and you're all able to hear me. As the sessions go through, I will take your questions. But if you have any technical glitches, please continue to use our Q&A and interact. Our entire iTeLearn team is here to help you. All right, let's get started, team. Here's the welcome slide. I'm going to go to the next slide, which kind of emphasizes the core challenges that I look at from the IT industry perspective. Be it if you're someone who's still in the learning engineering degree phase, or someone who's been working in the industry for, let's say, 10-15 years, you still know that the current gap that you're seeing from your resume, which is maybe 6 months old, to what the industry wants is significant. So a lot of new tools, skills are coming up. They're not complex or hard to learn, but you need to be aware. So as you keep attending interviews to try and expose yourself to job opportunities, you are thrown up with new trending technologies and skills, and that is very important. So skill gap, and how do we analyze that for each of you individually is the one big challenge we want to address. Lack of orientation is primarily towards your exposure. How do you look at things? Have you seen the best of standards of organizations and teams working? Are we just exposed to IT as core or IT as support functions like big businesses? So a lot of this talk is something that we see significantly lagging in people who are not yet connected to the industry. And this program gives you a lot of exposure through our tech panel sessions and through a lot of other things that we will talk about. The next one is guidance. It's basically how do we create a program that is so well built and proven that you just have to follow that system, that steps, and say that, okay, this is my learning. I know where I'll be ending up in the next 2 months and 3 months. The last one is you have everything, but how do you showcase on your resume? Because once you go to a job interview, they're all going to talk about, okay, great, Karthik, this sounds good, but you don't seem to have actual work experience, or do you at least have a certification? So that is something we need to address. So with all these thoughts that keep running into mind, someone who's a fresher to someone who's been there for a decade plus in the industry, we still have the same questions going on. Are our skills fine? Do we have enough project work or experience to showcase? How good is our resume? Once I join the project, will I be able to get support? What certifications will carry value, and so on? So these things are very important. All right, so these are the challenges that we're kind of getting into. I will not go through this slide about JPACT because I'll come to it after explaining this diagram. So far, so good, everyone. I will be coming to your Q&A later, but I have not seen any questions. I hope all's good, so I'm going to continue with it. All right, great. So here is the entire program called JPACT. JPACT stands for Job Placement and Certified Training. For 9 years at iTeLearn, I've been doing the specific training, which is tool-based, software test automation, Selenium, frameworks, Java, Python, and so on, very advanced core skills. And then we said, hey, you know what? Our students need to get groomed. They need to package things together. So let's create this program. We created our first batch of JPACT almost 3 years ago. I'm sure about 2015-16 time frame. And since then, we have got almost over 300 students joining to this program. This program is a longer one. It is a more focused one. How does it start? Where do we start? The first stage is your core training. I'll just take Spotlight. Okay, there you go. The core training primarily signifies your skill. You need to learn Java, for example, or C Sharp, Python, and then you need to mix it with maybe a DevOps, or you want to get into an SDET role. Whatever be it, you need to know that specific subject, the theory of it, the concept of it, and you need to know how to work on it hands-on. So that's your core training. Some of these trainings can last 2 weeks, some of these can last you about, say, 6 weeks, and then you finish it. The next phase that we really emphasize, and a lot of times I've seen people doing the core training and the second phase together, certification and live projects. I mean, from my perspective, this is all hands down the only number one thing that you require to really do. Why? If you don't have project work X, your chances are very, very minimal to get in. So how do you get work experience in a real project without getting a job? That is something we've been mastering over the last 3-4 years. We have a large organization with Verkasa. Our customers and our in-house projects sufficiently tackle about 50 to 150 interns. That gives you exposure for live projects. These are true, interesting, amazing projects. How they work, how we put together, we have some more content to show, but just imagine this. We take a project work, we give it a time. Okay, let's complete this in 6 months, be it creating an automation framework, or building a complete web and mobile application and so on. We have a distributed team who work remotely from different locations across the globe. And what we do is we take segments of time. So East Coast and UK, Europe combined one. Then we take Middle East, India, Australia combined one. Then more of Japan, Asia Pacific, West Coast of US combined one. Then we create them into teams, and they actually work on these projects, and we guide them on how to finish. So there are 4 teams doing the same thing. They look and learn from others, they compare. Amazingly interesting team. That's the live projects. So either you have project experience or you have some certifications that are accredited or very well recognized by the industry. You need to add them. That is your punch. This all will go into your professional resume, be it on LinkedIn, which is very critical, your social networks, but your actual CV, the profile, including the cover letter that we distribute. That is important. Now, what is the third level? Finishing and grooming. So while we do all of this, there are other aspects of really becoming a superhero or a superstar at work. How do we do that? That's thing starts with basics of maybe attitude all the way to your aptitude. How smart are you about situations? You're not always sitting in front of system and coding team. On your daily basis, in your 8 hours, you're at least speaking for 2 to 3 hours with real human beings. So there's an amazing amount of human to human interaction that can overrule your technical knowledge. So technology wise, let's say I get 60% marks, but my overall presentation and outlook is at 80%. So I do well in the industry. But the same, if you have 80% technical greatness, but you're not very well presentable, you cannot really get the opportunities for on-site as well, team. And believe in that. That is a sad story. Because when we want to send people, we want them to be very fine, well groomed, well presentable. That is finishing and grooming. This is programs that we will keep doing on a constant basis. Every member of a job placement and certified training program, JPACT, will go through that one-on-one counseling sessions as well with us. What this also means is, how do you act during an interview? How do you present? How do you dress up? How do you show up? What do you carry, and what all the do's and don'ts. So we will be having to do an amazing amount of mock interviews that will groom and shape you and fine tune you. Finally comes our last phase, which is the most critical. How do we get you placed? Do you want a job locally? I can't travel outstation. I cannot move out to the country. So many issues. I don't have the right work visa. Can I work from home? There are so many things. This is my expectation. While the market is heavy, we do realize that each of you have your own individual expectations. Our program, what we teach and what we kind of give you as a direction, is something you'll have to really stick to. But at the same time, when we keep having conversations, we understand your constraints and we want you to get placed in your dream job or close to it. We want you to get started. This whole journey from code training to job placement and work support, I've seen all our old members of JPACT finish anywhere between 2.5 to 6 months team. And I've seen some of them take it very leisurely. So this is a program that works with you, that is not just code training. Live projects are very, very rigid team. We will do it the way we'll do it because we know how the market, what we have to train. This we won't change. When it comes to finishing and grooming, lot of personal attention on individuals, job placement and work support. Once you're placed, we also want to showcase that yes, we are available. Do not worry. Go with all your confidence into it. So that's about the JPACT slide. I hope I could address how we have positioned our training program. The next slide is relevant to the same, but what it kind of, let me get back to the normal mouse, is the price of such a package. We've been doing this at US dollars, $2,500. If you go to iTeLearn.com, this is our mega course. There is no other course that I see that is so important. Now, what you will notice in the next few slides is which technology stream should I go? Is JPACT for every technology stream, or is it only for, let's say, software test automation or Java or SAP? So I'm going to talk about that, but this is a very priced program. Your core training could be anywhere from $200, $300 all the way to $1,000 for individual courses. But JPACT is a longer, much more focused. That's where a lot of our members go. And this is the start of a new JPACT program. So if you were falling in that fresher category to someone who's got a career gap, then let's get started. We have the next 2 to 3 months to really finish all through this. Let's move on to the next slide, team. Now, what is it currently that we're starting off with right away without much delay? We're starting with the QA manual testing stream. Lot of focus on the next one, which is Selenium, automation frameworks. This is super highlight for us because the way we have taken QTP to begin with UFT Selenium into the market since 2009, still showcase our capability and our, how do I say, we've been very heavy innovators in this field. We have not just sat tight and tried to do the same training. And one of the biggest results of the entire thing is AnyAuth, our home-built AnyAuth automation tool. Very proud to say that our JPACT members and SDET, which is our CSDT members, are the ones who actually built. So this is another program that we're doing. And then we have the programming language. So while you choose these, you can also choose automation or your own programming language to go with it. SDET, so what I mean to say, individually for starters, anyone could pick the first 3. You could go through this. SDET is very, very specifically for software development engineers in test. That is for QA engineers, or you're already into it, or you've got trained in these areas, then makes SDET a sense. You understand, team? So you need to be at least working in the software testing world or covered the first 3 to become an SDET. Now, these 4 programs are starting officially from today. So we have the orientation, couple of demo sessions, and then we will get into the real action. And there will be a lot to talk about e-learning, digital classrooms, or the actual classroom from where you all are taking. So we will come to those as well. As you see down, these are the list of other things that we're coming up, team. Some of them have been happening, some of them are. If you keep going to our website and our mobile app, you get alerts to what new technologies. What we did is something interesting with our core training and e-learning access that we will definitely kind of compile and give you the, how do we onboard you, how do you get started? We wanted to ensure learning is really available. So with one of our membership programs, you will be able to access videos of almost all these courses. Not the finishing and grooming and job placement and those things or live projects, but to be able to learn like the popular e-learning competitors that you see out there. We'll come to that. How do we welcome you on board? I'm still focusing on the program and how we're getting it. This slide again kind of re-emphasizes on the fact and importance of a certification and or live projects. This is very critical, team. I've spoken enough on it, so I can move on. These are a list of certifications that, apart from the technology-based certifications, this has become very critical. I feel very glad because I've been in the IT industry for the last 20 years. I passed out my engineering in '98, and very early I could get on to become an ISO certified internal auditor. That was 9001, 2000. And then I took on to get on to Six Sigma, Green Belt and Black Belt. Just the fact that these programs as a human and how we are as a workforce just changes our whole perspective. So it is good for any of you to add a couple of them. They're not that complex. We can really make them easy. We're just saying certifications are critical. You see some of them that you know, some of them like your Oracle Sun certified and all that are not here to see, but a lot of programs are coming up, team. So start showcasing some of your contribution of your time and effort into creating and getting certifications. Okay, so I haven't spoken about NEOT too much. Just a quick elevator pitch. NEOT is a software test management and automation tool. It has got a web front end where you could do an entire test management like a HPALM. Not that complex, but you create your test scenarios, your test cases, keep them ready for manual testing. But then it is backed up with a powerful core engine that's built on Selenium WebDriver and Core Java. And what this engine does is it kind of understands what the user wrote in the test management web front end, what does each step they want to do, and execute it. So it's a test management that does very quick, simple execution of automation runs with absolutely no coding or code visibility. So as part of our program, we built two certifications team. Certified tester and certified developer. So an NEOT certified tester is basically someone who does not know coding very well, is still fearful, is not comfortable, but knows how software testing works, is good in Jira, Bugzilla, knows how Trello as a project management tool works, maybe how HPALM works. Maybe they've done HP UFT, just record and playback, but they're not code developers. They are experts in overall test flow, and they know that I can use NEOT or competitive tools like Catalan very easily. Certified developers are someone who are amazing in building automation frameworks. They're pure breed SDETs, and they basically bleed coding. We love to sit down and code challenge each of us every time, and we keep progressing in that. So I've seen a lot of migration. So some of the members, when you join, a lot of time you're focusing in being your manual tester. We spend a month getting comfortable, and then they work for 3 months, 6 months, and then they migrate on to becoming an NEOT certified developer. We at iTeLearn strongly recommend you only learn what you can chew and deliver and get to use it in the job. We can't put you in a 2-year program, but because by the time you come out, you'll be obsolete with technology. These are in things, team. Very simple built, very nice and easy for you to understand. This will take you step by step through them. All right, great. I'm not taking questions yet. I think I have a few more slides, and I have not seen many questions as well come from the audience, but I'll come to that. I spoke about finishing and grooming. This is what we were talking about: your attitude, your aptitude, how you do in discussions as a human, mock interviews, right from your resume to your social etiquettes and mannerisms. So we go through that. This requires us to be in, touch with each other. We meet each other in person or through our digital classrooms. We can use technology to the largest extent, Skype it, do video calls, but we will have to have front facing. We'll need to really see how you're doing, what you're doing, and shape you. All right, so that was finishing and grooming. Job placement work support I spoke about. Team, again, emphasize a lot. This is what students do. Out of a 3 months program that you attend, they will spend 2.5 months, 3 days an hour, learning. And the last 2 weeks, they'll spend half an hour a day on resume preparation. That is absolutely not doable, team. You will need to start by the first month. If you finish a month training, you start working on the resume, spend a lot of time. Resume, you should be so comfortable. That is the only thing that will get you your jobs, team, anywhere you go. So let's work a lot on that. All right, once you start with it, then we can keep doing. This is an easy peasy from my perspective, because I've done it so many times with our students. So many batches we've gone through for JPACT itself, leaving alone specific Java, Selenium, and so on. So I'm not going line by line, but this kind of emphasizes what we want to do there or what we're doing. As a concept of how we teach, I think concept versus definition, there's a lot of practical, team. It's very simple. The first day, I will take a project and I'll start showing you. When you join my day 1 trainings, you'll start seeing. We don't learn anything. There's nothing called learning. You just start doing things. as part of it. Oh, okay, all right, now I get it, now I get it. And then you go practice, you fail, then you see, you know, you're dejected, you come back, you have support. It's a cycle, and then you'll keep going through it, and you will see how interesting it'll get. We will have about 25 or 20 sessions, team, let's assume, for manual testing or Java or Selenium by itself. And so let's assume in the 20 sessions, we will do about 3 projects each. So by the time we do the first project, it will be very cakewalk kind of a feel. Okay, very easy, nice, well started. Second project within the training will be a little bit more advanced. So this hands-on projects is what I'm going to show and keep doing, and you would replicate the same and do it at your end. All right, team. So we will go into that. We will talk about that. And one thing I really don't do, team, is called spoon feeding. While we empower you, we help you, we guide you, our team is really, really sweet about assisting you. I really want you to stand up, you know, take charge and say, okay, you know what? I think I can find my way. What if I'm lost at work? Whom do I approach at that time? So we want to teach you how to be more survivalist and, you know, and conqueror from there. Then, oops, with that help button on. So we take you through that journey, team. And one of the biggest things I believe we bring to the table is confidence, not only of what we do and how we speak, but also how our students speak about us as they go through these sessions. So that's a lot about iTeLearn. I think I've come towards the end of the presentation. Maybe a few more slides. I'll just check quickly. Yes, and then we could. So this slide, I want to take a minute and explain, team, what are we doing? For 9 years, we've been doing our online e-learning program, team. That's where we focused. Myself been doing work from home or wherever I've been from US. All other trainers have been doing it from their locations, wherever they were. Our students were global. And we luckily could generate most of the momentum as absolute word of mouth and some of the YouTube benefits that we got when people watched these demos. So that was a phenomenal space, but we knew that e-learning is great for people who are away from metros, don't have the schedule. But if we are able to upgrade to something a little bit more, we are sure that JPACT will become true. We need that human to human touch to really get you into the job market, team. So then we said, actually, I've now come to the in-class and classroom, the most important one, where I would want to be personally wanting to stand some of our trainers as well. And we started with one location in Hyderabad right now. And we want to be able to do this in maybe 2-3 locations where iTeLearn core trainings happen. So while I'm teaching an audience of students, I'm also delivering the same online. So this is a dual mode of teaching. And that was the reason when we started this webinar, I was asking the questions as to how my audio is, surrounding sounds, and so on. I just wanted to see everything is good. Now comes the third one, and I welcome all the digital classroom associates into the session. Thank you so much for joining as well. We're really looking forward. Within the next 60 days, we will see phenomenal action in your setup. So what is a digital classrooms team? Very simple, let me explain. It is a 15 to 20 seater facility, well connected with internet, large size display projector, webcam, mic, speakers. 15-20 people come there as a team and learn. So whatever sessions we are doing will get projected in this smaller digital classrooms in multiple locations as we go along. So some of our volunteers are companies who are actually registering into a program of digital classrooms, have maybe a consulting organization, they have some meeting rooms and space, or they want to convert. There's someone who's been very active in their space, they don't have commercial space, but they have, let us say, a garage that they can convert it into a makeshift nice training. It is all about group learning, learning as a team. Before the session starts, can we catch up on what happened previous? After the session start, you know what, let's start working on tests, assignments, and which is part of our core training. So these digital classrooms are with very, very minimal investments. Our network of partners are able to set up, invite students, and do these sessions. It's a very, very interesting team that's coming up, team. We will have to take it one day at a time. Thank you once again for the digital classroom members to be part of this. We really look forward to start having post-training conversations where we can do webcam shares as well. All right, so that was about our digital classroom online e-learning. Now let's go to the last slide, and then we are phenomenally good for our Q&A. All right, there you go. So in class online, I think I spoke about it. The emphasis is very simple, team. And e-learning requires a lot of discipline, structure, and okay, I have videos, but there are too many deviations. It could be family-based, personal-based. You're doing it from home. It is too boring sometimes, maybe, or someone else is pinging you. So it's a lot of self-driven. I have a lot of appreciation. I work from home. I've been teaching online. All my students have been successfully learning, but there are benefits. We want you to be having that advantage of both. The greatest advantage that iTeLearn members would get, apart from our live project and how we have created JPACT program, is the fact that our library of e-learning videos and tutorials are so humongous and so well updated on a regular basis. You could just continue to take a weekend off and take a program and learn it. So this division of specialized focused learning to on the job learning, where what, I need to know something in 5 minutes as to what's happening. Okay, which video where? Let me go to that section. Okay, phenomenal. Now I understand the concept more. So we've done well in one phase of online. We now wish to be very aggressive and do this in class, which I believe and the digital classrooms, which will also help us in achieving our JPACT program better. So that is pretty much what I had in mind, team. And before I get into the QA orientation and specifically talk about QA, Java, Selenium, I thought any questions on JPACT, I would love to take them, please. All right, so I start seeing the questions coming in. I do also have a few poll questions, team, that I'll get to, but let me go back on the slides to maybe, yeah, actually I'll put it on Q&A. That'll be good. So team, and if you want to speak, all you have to do is raise your hand in your GoToWebinar. You'll see very few options for attendees, and I could get you unmuted. You can speak your questions also. How long is this course? That's one question. And then I had another question on, so let me take the first question, team. How long is this program? JPACT, like I mentioned, is a 3 months program, because we have to start with your core training, which is about 4 to 6 weeks by itself. We will do a little overlap with your certifications and projects during that time. It is about 2.5 to 3 months. The earliest I've seen someone doing JPACT is about 2.5 months, like starting from almost nothing all the way to, wow, I'm ready. So it is your call, about anywhere between 2 months to 6 months. So that is the flexibility that these programs bring. Core training, take your subject, take your topic, go learn it. All right. Do you place students in USA? Okay, we were only placing students in the US. We have not done anywhere else so far. We are now very, very aggressive in our thought and our intent for India as a market. We are partnering extremely well with Australia and UK, Europe to a certain extent. So it will open up, team. It depends on where our audience are. And I'm going to take a quick minute and ask Ashna and Sheetal maybe to help me to look at poll questions and see if it's got the geographies also. I think it is there. So we could see where the audience is joining.
Yes, it's there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Karthik, you just answered Pravija's question, but then her hand is also raised, just for your information.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Actually, I'm not seeing hand raised. I will. Yes, now I see Suresh's hand is raised and Pravija's got her hand down. Okay, got it. Thank you. I have another question. How often do we meet online for this course? Okay, if you're talking JPACT, you're going to spend about 2 hours a day at least learning itself. Okay, maybe another hour at least. So let's give it about 3 hours. We're going to meet every day, Monday to Friday, team. Okay, Monday to Friday is the US evenings. It is usually Tuesday morning to Saturday morning, India morning. That's the timing that we meet. You will be connected with the rest of JPACT members and the live project members, and then you will have to figure out those times when you want to interact. Just letting you know, team, as we speak, I'm sure there are at least 300 students who must have joined us in the last, let's say, 45 days, 60 days, who are spending about 8 to 10 hours a day on iTeLearn programs. They're not spending 1-2 hours, team. There are about 300 students right now actively doing about 8 to 10 hours a day. The people who come will learn for a week and go and so on are there. Maybe that will be another 300, 400 members. But there are people who are putting in that amount of effort. They have time and they enjoy how they're learning, how they're interacting, so they keep going through it. Did I answer your question, Rajni? How often do we meet online for this course? So there's our schedule we will meet, then there's your schedule of doing, then there's your schedule of live project work when you're involved with the other team members. There's another question: how JPACT fits to experienced QA testers with some years of experience? Perfect. So for someone who's experienced QA testers, I don't want you to go and start right from the bottom. There is no point. All right. So let's look at this slide now. You already know manual testing, do not even touch it. In fact, a lot of times I ask people to start with Selenium because manual testing is kind of very easy to catch on, but we want you to go comfort. So this is how we have organized. For someone who's got experience in software testing, you go directly to Selenium crash course of basics. You pick up your programming language, combine it, and SDET. So instead of spending, let's say 10 hours here, 10 hours here, you basically go towards these last three portions. SDET will become very key, Suresh, to answer that question. JPACT has to finish with SDET. How do we do our continuous integration delivery? How do we integrate Jenkins, Maven, put it through their build process? A lot of these questions are getting asked. So our students have to be aware. So I would say about 60-70% of students will find jobs till in Selenium and till programming. For the others, this is the top end, a little bit more premium money, you'll get more and so on. This is the direction. If you're someone who's got 2 to 3 years of IT experience in software testing or anything in IT, don't go for a total JPACT. Just go for something called a CSDT or a package of all of these. But what will happen is, it's still the same program. You still have to go through the entire structure, but you don't have to start with all the way basics. And that is the reason we are doing 3 sessions in parallel. Of course, we'll need to look at the number of students turn up and then finalize the schedule. So we have QA going on, and then after 15 minutes break, Selenium, and after 15 minutes break, Java. So what that means is, if you're already in manual testing, don't attend the first one. Go for Selenium and then Java sessions. If you're someone who has time, go for all 3. Hopefully I answered that question. I'm going to go back to reading a few more. Suresh, let me know, please, if I answered that question. I'm going to take, thank you. One more question from Pravija. Do you offer placement services to students who aren't enrolled in JPACT? Absolutely. There are even members who are coming who are not as students. They've just watched our videos. They connect with us. They like what we're doing. And we connect. And, sometimes our schedule or our program may not fit all the students worldwide. And what they do is basically we connect with most of our members on professional networks like LinkedIn and so on, number one. And if they have a good profile, we definitely would love to associate with them. And the toughest thing to say, and we're still unable to solve that efficiently, is the pain is both ways. The pain that employers and end clients cannot hire students or find the right candidates, and the candidates are unable to find the right jobs. That's both ways. I need only a couple of courses, but also need help with placement. Yes. So it is still part of the JPACT as a program, but that is where customizations will come. So then I come to you and Pravija say, you know what? Focus on manual testing these areas. Don't do too much of Jira, Bugzilla. Maybe focus on ISTQB or AnyAuto or Trello. So we customize you. We go through the training. We customize your effort. Training is an art team. Just imagine that. But what you will do with your project, practice, resume, preparing yourself for jobs is at least another couple of hours. So we should get ready towards that. And I just happened to see briefly a very nice sweet video made by our old students of JPACT on how it helped them, how they learned experience. I've not seen the entire thing. But I request you all to definitely see that. It'll tell you from their perspective how they've gone through. Let's see. I don't see any more questions. And how are we doing on time? We've spent less about 30 minutes into it. We've gone through JPACT overall and the basic questions on the program of JPACT and so on. Thanks for the info. I'm taking last couple of questions, team, and then maybe take a minute break, and then we'll jump into software testing. We'll talk about what we're going to do there as a program. There's one question. Thanks for the info. What would be the price of the placement services alone? So, like I was mentioning, I was the one I requested Sheetal, in fact, earlier yesterday to put this price on here. There is price for core training, individual programs, and there's a price for JPACT. There is nothing in between. And there's no a la carte choose, okay, in what I just want finishing and grooming. We are unable to. It's a very focused thing. So it is either all the way, you go through the program, or you just take like, I just want to learn this because you're sure of everything else in that. That is how we structured it. And once you're into it, you'll know, team, that this is the program you have to be. The way I look at is your need. So if your need is quick learning, I'm already in a job, I need skill upgrade, enhancement, code training, pick your thing. You have time, you want to be more focused, really hit the market correctly, 2 months, 3 months, then JPACT. Yes. So for I don't have like only project how much, only certification how much, only finish. No, we don't. Either we have code training or all the way JPACT. All right, great, team. So I'm going to give it a pause now for just about 10 seconds, and then we'll go into software testing. We'll talk about it a little bit then. Thank you. So let me go to that slide where I think it's just about what is it that you learn, and we'll get into this. All right, team, back to continuing in the QA part of it. So when I talk about this QA and software testing team, before I get there, let me run a few poll questions so I know who our audience are and what, where you all come from. The first question, very important. Kindly spend a couple of minutes on the poll that's just launched on your screen, everyone. It's just to know who you are in the IT segment. You're absolute beginner, like, or some IT maybe training or some knowledge, but or an IT expert all the way. So kindly take 5 seconds, all of you put in your votes, and then we will move on to the next one. I've got about 30% votes so far. Can I kindly request everyone to finish their vote? I'm sure it's taking you a couple of minutes to read as well. And your responses can be actually clicked on the screen at your end since you're joining online. So you could take the poll at your end. I just got 50% votes, team, 45 seconds into it. I'm going to quickly close it in the next 10-15 seconds. I request everyone to please put it in. Rajni, I'll come to your question in a few minutes. Very good question. I'll come to it. Thank you. All right, team, I've got only 60% votes. It does mean that a lot of members are not attentive. You have joined the session, you're not attending. I can actually see all the names of the people. There are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of you who are not attend. Go to webinar does this, team. If you step away from your machine or you switch windows and you're looking at anything else, it gives us an alert and tells us that this person is not attentive. And I've got about 6, 7 names, and that's where the polls were weak. So please, if you're participating, give it your full thought. I understand sometimes you get pulled into, but be focused and be there, team. The other thing is, after every session we get amazing reports from GoToWebinar. Attendance, your attentiveness, your tests when we conducted, how many questions have you asked, others have asked, we get those reports. And depending on your bandwidth of time, we can share them. All right, team, let me go ahead and close the poll. I hope I've got still only 67% votes. Usually it's about 80%. And let me share this. Are you able to see the results on your screen, all of you?
Yes, Karthik. Eight on the
Thank you.
screen.
So majority of you, 50, 21, 85% of the participants are not working in IT. And IT expert, we don't have anyone joining into this one, but you're actually not coming, we're not in the IT field core yet. So that primarily means that you need a lot of good start. Where do we start? Do we start with manual testing or do we go all the way back? While I keep that poll open, I also want to address one question that I got is, still I don't get what all I'm going to learn in JPACT. You showed a slide where there were 4 areas: manual, Selenium, programming, SDET. Do we do all of them in 3 months? Exactly, yes. You will do all of them in 3 months. So your JPACT program will have to take you from the basics, teach you all that is required to get that role. Let us say DevOps, there'll be one JPACT for it. Let us say mean stack or lean stack web or mobile app development, there's going to be one JPACT for it. For SDET, software test automation, there is one. That is what we're talking about out here in JPACT as part of iTeLearn currently. So today we're talking about getting you into the more of SDET related roles, team. Thank you so much. I have a couple more questions that I wanted to take from you. Yes, this should be easy and quick. So where do you reside, team? Not your country or origin of birth. Where are you currently living or studying and working, please? I got about 50% votes, team. I request everyone kindly so that we can move on. I'm going to close it in exactly 7 seconds now. All right, thank you. So like always, it's about 73% are from US, Canada, 27% are from India, South Asia. I would say more of India. It is also the timing factor, team, but also where we've kind of become more and more popular. It's always been the US. All our students come from US, and that's where we are focused. And we know that we have a larger communities elsewhere as well. So we're trying to distribute it accordingly. Thank you so much for I shared the results, right? You saw the results. Participating in the second poll, I'm going to quickly take. This is a quick question. Are you a current member with iTeLearn, like already registered for, let's say, one of our courses, Selenium, JPACT, or yes, is our year-end sale special members who joined us? Actually, the option of planning to be is pretty tricky there, but yes, I've got 58% yes, 33% no so far. I'm going to quickly close this poll, team. I'm getting about 70-75% response on votes. Not everyone is participating. I recommend you to do so, please. Thank you. I'm going to quickly close this and share it. All right, you all can see about 50% of you are already in one of the programs. So I'm sure you're either looking at upgrading or repeating. So you know that you have unlimited repeats with us, you can keep, because for us, end of the day, you need to learn and you need to earn, right? It is very important. So a lot of repetition. Oh, you know what, Karthik, first time I didn't capture it so well. Okay, fine. Come on, next join again. And they've kept doing projects, projects after projects. So I really appreciate all our iTeLearn community for keep coming back to us. Thank you so much. I'm going to hide this poll. Any other very, very important poll I'm going to take, team? Otherwise, we'll move on. How many of you are aware about any yet? No, what is your current status? What is your current status? Let's see. I think this is a nice question. Maybe in some way we answered, but it's very specific. Are you looking for the first job in IT QA, working but want to grow in automation, working but want to grow in dev space? That's a good question because I've seen people migrating there. I don't know why I'm here. Is the last one is where I think why we are here now, because you don't know where to start. Not a problem. We are experts at this. We guide you there. All right. Great team. That was the last poll. I'm going to close it in the next 5 seconds and we'll quickly move for about 10-15 minutes on to QA orientation. I will request all of you to also join the Selenium because we will talk about a lot of software testing when we do the Selenium orientation too. All right, team. I'm going to quickly close the polls now. Thank you, and share the last one. So almost 60% of you are looking for the first job. So you might be a student or member, but maybe still not got into it. Let's go for it now. Great. Let's close the polls and okay, back to my screen. All right, team. So, while there are stuff and content that you see on the screen, I just want to talk about in general about software testing team. All right. Just that you're aware, we will come to the specifics of what is software testing, how do we start it, test cases, and so on in our day one. All right. But QA and quality assurance in software testing is basically one field which is spread across anything in, sorry, I don't have a good mouse team, so but I'm trying to draw, but whatever be the technology, let it be that you're an SAP shop or an Oracle shop, if you're using Salesforce or Pega or any other BPMs, or you use a HP, UFT, HP, ALM side, or open source Java, .NET, and so on. You still have software testing as a common discipline. It is a faculty within the whole software domain, which is like development is one, software testing is one. So there's development and testing. So they kind of go hand in hand. There's a lot of talk in the software testing market that manual testing is going to die. In fact, testing a discipline by itself is going to come down. Take my words, team, it is only going to go bigger because development is going to get messier. People will make phenomenal challenges. World will get complex to kind of start catering to upcoming IoTs and devices. Testing at a device to a user experience level is gonna be phenomenally critical. What that will do for you is, if you're smart enough and if you're empowered to be able to work from home or wherever you are, you know how to work, very disciplined, you'll come on the webcam, you'll participate, you can get some great activities or projects, freelance projects in software testing still. What all comes under software testing team? It is the starting of it, but everything where there's no coding, just imagine that. I'm not reading what is there on the screen, but I'm generally talking about. From my perspective, a software test engineer starts to be one of the first and most important definition for them is they are the experts in BA, like business analysts. Why? Unless they know the domain, the platform, and the functionality of the business application, what authority do they have to test? So you need to be very, very proficient in that domain or on that thing. Second one is very tool savvy and very smart about what tools to use. Or you know what, Trello is free, let's use that. Jira is a free version. Karthik, or when you, let's say you're working with me and I am your team lead, Karthik, why don't we try Catalan? It seems to be popular. Or let's go and create our own. That is where you come up with an array of tools and say, I know these tools. Doesn't have to do anything with soft coding team. Leave software coding to the side. You are a tool master. You need to have array of at least 10-15 tools. The third and most important thing is your overall aptitude and attitude team. How do you mix it on communications and so on? We'll come to it. Now, With that, domain is something once you get into your live projects, we will start giving you exposure to. But to learn the fundamentals of why testing is important, how do we start doing our day one in a project when we go about becoming a, let us say, QA engineer or a software test engineer? What happens in the day one of a QA engineer's life? What are the industry trends? What is the job market? By individually team, I will not be able to do justice, because it is going to be extremely tough to say, I will be master at everything here and say, what, confidently I'll get a job. Except for these 3-4 things at the end, where you have a certification, HPLN, and so on, you're otherwise competing with a very, very large market. The biggest challenge with software testing is, remember this team, the competition. The competition to software testing does not come from IT or computer science engineers or electronics, all of them jumping into it. No, it comes into it because it is the easiest way to enter software industry, because there's no coding. The other alternates are good, be a good business analyst. How about database testing? It starts to get a little bit more technical from there on. 1 minute, team. So very, very critical that you understand that it is very important for you to know and master these, what you see as topics here, and I'll take you to the page also if needed. But it is your stepping stone. So 2 to 3 weeks into this, we will be able to spend enough project and time on, let's say, Jira or HPLM. ISTQB certification, I would strongly recommend team, take the basic one. It is easy. You will feel confident as well, especially if you do not have too much work experience. All right. And then we will talk about NEOT. We can also introduce few other tools. So that's where we can get creative. What does the market require? This will be what we will go through, team, in our next 3 weeks of program of software testing. All right. And I just want to also take you to the iTeLearn page. So here are some of the contents, I'm sure, from the old. But what happens typically, team, is we have done maybe about, I would say, easily 30 to 40 software testing batches. The same number in Selenium, Java, and automation, a lot of them. And we have kind of put a library of all these batches stacked together. A lot of members come to an orientation session and then they join, and before the next 4 or 5 days when we actually kickstart the trainings, they will go through this topic. So once you log in and you go through our membership portal, they start watching these e-learning videos, and it becomes very interesting. Each batch will have different exposure to a different application and project. So that is something we will walk you through. This link, team, Ashna, if you don't mind, also put it in the chat for everyone, has a list of all the detailed topics that we will go through and what we will cover. It does miss a few things on ISTQB and NEOT that you've seen in the PowerPoint, but not there. So team, from a software testing perspective, there is nothing really to dig. I would love to go into the day one and really show you how beautiful and simple it is to learn. So that you will enjoy as a session. As a career, is this the right field? I don't think if you start with QA, software testing, you'll end there. You will go on to become someone who's an expert as SDET or automation or an amazing domain expert with all these tools knowledge. Okay. You could also, someone with good communication and prior experience of leadership could get into QA leadership roles, project management and program management of large QA teams. Great. I think I covered most of what I wanted to. I focused a lot on JPACT to begin with. QA, I spoke little. And then I want to take a few more questions if they're relevant. A lot of questions may be more relevant when it comes to Selenium and Java now, Tim, the next sessions. But I'm here. I'm going to give you all about 30 seconds. If you have a few questions, put them in. Take a couple of minutes, not 30 seconds. Put your questions in. I will address them. Thank you, team. I'm going to be on mute for a minute or two. All right, team. I just have a couple of questions. I'm going to quickly take them. If others, you do have questions, then please put them here. You are, of course, more than welcome to keep in contact with us offline and later. I think it's a lot of motivation, career. It is an important decision for all of you. We believe we are well prepared and organized with what we have as programs. You may have questions or concerns. We are here to address them. So let them come across. We'll take them up. So what positions do you place candidates in? I would say a lot in software test automation, SDET, Selenium, but we're getting a lot of requirements also in web services, SOAP UI, API testing, that segment. We also are seeing significant improvement in mobile app testing. Now they're catching on. So those areas are the prime areas where most of our students are getting placed in. I see very few students going into navigating purely into a DevOps role or a PMP role. Some of them have done, but most of them have remained in this segment. Few of them have done well to become an ISTQB, but the billing rates are still at a lower rate when it's just pure manual testing team. Another question: how long will it take to get a job in manual testing alone? Wow. Okay. Um, so when I talk of manual testing alone, I say manual testing with tools and skills like HPALM, Jira, Trello, some of the latest ones, Anyot, and so on, how to use them. No coding. That is a manual tester for me. How long will it take to get a job? If you put 8 hours a day within 2 months, definitely yes. But you have to go through a rigorous program. You have 2 hours learning, 2 hours project, resume preparation, grooming, interviews, lot of interviews. Maybe you have to attend 15, 20 interviews. What is special in you apart, sorry, who was this, Jennifer, that they will not see in the remaining 100 candidates, right from resume to the time you walk in, your first words of speech and so on. So very important theme, how you present. So it would take about at least minimum 2 to 3, I would say 2 months. You give your best, within 2 months you should be able to get into a good software testing only job. What you will need to compromise then will be on your negotiation of price and location. So you may have to be flexible for travel or for taking a low paid job to start with. Then your scope will increase. All right, team. Looks like that's about the questions for today's session. Thank you so much. We did cross our timeline as well for attending both JPACT and QA orientation. I look forward to seeing you in the next sessions and all the best in your IT venturing. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye. See you next time. Bye, all.